I sit, covered in blood, head to toe with my stiletto heels in my hand. The camera is blipping, telling me all of my subscribers have just watched me murder a man. All because I started an OnlyFans page. My close friend Cindy was the one who convinced me to join OnlyFans. One night we got into a long chat about making ends meet on Facebook Messenger. I just want to provide for my girls, I cried. With a body like yours, you could make hot stacks of cash, she teased. I blushed deep red. I could never do that. I would be so self-conscious and embarrassed. But I don't want you to think I look down on you for doing that. You're young and single and look amazing, I told her. And so do you! You would be shocked at the amount of money that people have given me for sending just simple little nip slips and stuff like that. It's good money, and it's not like you're hurting anyone, Cindy told me. I'll think about it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound old-fashioned. It just sounds so risque, I typed back. If you want to provide for your family with the things you need, it's a good option. No pressure, girl. The next week came and went, and my daughter Haley missed out on participating in a fundraiser with her friends because we were low on funds. She was furious with me, and I realized I was robbing her of a normal childhood more than any virus could. So, I bought a decent camera and decided to start an OnlyFans account that same night. I wasn't going to be as bold as Cindy, with full body pictures, no. I was going to dip my toes in, so to speak, with feet pics. Even though it was only just my feet that I was exposing to the world, I still felt very subconscious about it. So I waited until my girls went to bed, and then I called up Cindy to come over and take multiple angles. We stayed up for the next 3 hours, trying my best to make my feet look sensual, and her encouraging me to take things a little farther. It felt strange being on camera, but that nervousness began to fade as I noticed I was starting to get subscribers right away. Cindy left me to finish up the page on my own, but I was having a hard time ignoring all of these fans. Complete strangers that were willing to pay me more just to admire my feet. Reading the comments was beginning to give me a new sense of identity. One user, Russ on the Run, had quite a few compliments to dole out. Those soles are so pretty. I would suck on your toes all day. Totally lickable. Mouth-watering. I'm drooling right now. I would gladly give you a massage anytime you wanted, babe. More and more of these adorations came pouring in as I read my OnlyFans page and got giddy. Russ stood out, though. It was a bit bizarre the things he said he wanted to do, but I told myself I shouldn't knock anyone's fetish and that it was harmless. What do I do now? I texted Cindy. Talk to the subscribers. Ask them what they want. And do it live on camera. Fans go crazy for interaction like that, she told me. That sounded like something I wasn't ready for, so I balked at the last second and told her I needed to get some sleep. The next day, though, as I surprised the girls by taking them to Baskin-Robbins for ice cream, my mind kept mulling over how easy it would be to earn more. Just a little more exposure was harmless. It's not like I had anyone in my life that would judge me. And the messages on my page were even more encouraging. Reading them was all the motivation I needed. I would gladly pay to rub lotion on those sexy feet. Nobody knows how amazing your feet are, babe. Stunning. Just like I remember. That one made me pause and I checked the username. Russ on the Run. Was he really that obsessed? It was a little weird, especially as I checked the other DMs he sent me. We don't know each other, but I would gladly worship your feet. One of them was a video of himself. I had to admit, if it wasn't for the creepy PMs, I would find him attractive. You will always be a 10. I have dreamed of finding a woman like you my entire life. Can I ask for a private session? I will pay any price. I know we haven't ever met, and we don't know each other at all, but this feels like fate. I need you in my life. Again, I had to freeze in shock at his boldness. I stopped the video immediately and asked myself how could anyone be this addicted to just me? I wasn't anything special. I put my phone away and focused on my twin girls. Glad they were enjoying the afternoon. Inwardly, I was in turmoil though, unsure what to think or how to react. When the girls went to bed, I finally got the courage to check messages on my screen. To my surprise, he had sent a little video of himself again. He scratched behind his ears nervously.
This is really awkward, isn't it? Meeting again, like this. You must think I'm some kind of pervert. But I have to admit, I have definitely had some wet dreams about you. But this is clearly meant to be. Us crossing paths. I know I would be good for you, and I think we should just dive in. It just makes sense.
As soon as I finished that video, I noticed he was online and felt awkward. A flashing icon on the screen told me he wanted to chat. I clicked the button to connect and waited 7 long seconds as his camera came on. It felt like eternity. I was thinking that I should just back away. Something was off. But that offer for more money was so great. It scared me more to risk saying no.
I was worried I scared you off. Unless you are into that,
the mystery man said with a nervous chuckle. Funny, I was thinking my stinky feet would be the fear factor, I said with a reassuring smile. Everything that was said was laced with some kind of motive, but also in a harmless way. He was just trying to make me comfortable, I told myself. I was ignoring any signs of him being a threat.
Well, fortunately, the webcam doesn't come equipped with smell sensors. Just eyes on you, babe.
He kept making me laugh like that all night. And before I knew it, we were starting to talk about connecting in the real world. I just don't think I'm ready for that, I admitted.
Sure, I understand,
Russ said, sounding disappointed. Then he got a mischievous grin on his face and asked,
Could I at least ask again for that private show?
It felt a little dirty, extremely exciting, and also game-changing that I was even considering saying yes.
I can pay. It's no issue. You name the price. I just want all of you.
But it felt wrong. He was always so insistent, and also so enticing. Russ had no idea how badly I needed that money, how far I would go, and maybe I didn't know for sure either. Maybe that was what really scared me. He knew that I would not say no as his figure kept going up and up, so I gave in. I had only been at this for maybe a week, and I was already pushing the limits of what I thought was acceptable. Less and less clothing, more seductive poses, more exhilarating and private videos for Russ. I hated myself for what I was willing to do, terrified at how far I would go. Then one day I asked him how he had been. He made a curious suggestion.
We have been dancing around this for a while now, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. I like you. I think you are super attractive, and I would love to get with you,
he said. I blushed red again on screen. Russ, I don't know what to say.
Say you feel the same. Say you need me the way I need you.
I want to, but I can't. I don't want to get hurt again.
I'm not like other guys.
But I have to think of my family, Russ. That was a mistake. I had actually never mentioned having children to him, and it caught him by surprise. I could see it in his face.
Wait, you have kids?
He asked. You sound like you are accusing me of something, I replied.
How am I supposed to get you all to myself?
I huffed, and I told you, I'm not ready. Stop pressuring me. This isn't what I want in my life right now, Russ, and how dare you talk about my girls that way?
I've done everything for you. I don't deserve this.
What is that supposed to mean? I asked.
You owe me some kind of respect, unless you just used me,
he snapped back. His eyes were full of rage I had never seen. I decided to pull the plug immediately and blocked him. His true colors had shown, and it frightened me. I had gotten too attached, and I didn't know anything about him, I told Cindy. She encouraged me to keep posting, though. You've got a fan base that is paying through the nose for you. Don't let Russ's obsession be the reason you call the quits. I knew she was right. The extra money had been nice, but the compliments and the avid fans were even nicer. Over the next 2 weeks, I kept pushing my boundaries even further, showing more erotic videos, and even giving other members private shows. Several of them were big spenders. Dom, a German that was into bondage. Jerry, a deaf man that I actually signed in lingerie for. Sam, a rich British lord, supposedly. And Calvin, a bodybuilder from the same town as me. Each of them lavished me with gifts, and I would display them on camera every time I got one. The attention was addictive, and I craved more. Calvin was the one that made the move that none of them dared to ask. "Let's meet up," he offered. He reminded me of the gentleman that Russ had once been, and he never pushed for anything with strings attached. So I said yes. This was the change I needed in my life. Even though I didn't even know what Calvin looked like, I told myself I was ready to give myself to him. Obsession to boost my views clouded my judgment. I arranged for grandparents to come take the girls for the night and dolled myself up. Then I got my camera ready. I figured that Calvin wouldn't mind. The minutes ticked away seemingly forever as I stood there nervously. Then my loft doorbell rang and I raced to the door in my most alluring nightgown. I opened it with a full smile on my face that quickly turned to a frown as I realized it was Russell. What are you doing here?" I asked in surprise, taking a step back. "This is exactly how it's meant to be, Michelle. You and me, together," he said as he closed the door to my loft. "Or did you reject me because I wasn't the perfect alpha male like you imagined Calvin to be? Don't you see that I am what is good for you?" he asked me in frustration. "Russell, this is all very sweet," I said nervously, "but you are starting to scare me. You shouldn't have lied to me. You should learn when someone says no, that means you need to back off." "I'm tired of letting good things slip through my fingers, Michelle. You'll see. I'm going to make this work." Then he showed me he had something behind his back. It looked like a bag to cover my head. Immediately, I screamed and tried to fight back, but he was already on top of me, shoving a rag on my face and calmly whispering, "It's going to be all right, Michelle. We'll be together now. Forever." I woke up in a plain white room on a mattress. My head was spinning and I wanted to puke. My clothes had been changed and I was now wearing stiletto heels, looking more like a model than I ever had attempted before. I was also handcuffed to the top of the mattress via a headboard. The room was windowless. It reminded me of the old abandoned apartments on the east side of the river. And in front of me was a tripod with a camera, pointed straight at me. Instinctively, I yanked at the chains to see if I could get very far, but it was an exercise in futility. It simply tugged me back down onto the mattress, and I immediately started to hyperventilate. It was painfully obvious what had happened here.
Russell! Russell, I know you hear me. You can't keep me here!
I screamed out. I heard a strange noise from somewhere above me, and his familiar voice began to speak from an intercom.
"Michelle, you need to calm down. That won't look good for your audience."
He chided me. My audience? What are you talking about? Are you putting this content on my OnlyFans page?
"Of course I am. I realized after we left your loft that it wouldn't be fair for me to just keep you to myself. Not yet, anyway. The world needs to experience your amazing beauty and see how they are missing out. So, I'm going to be your director now, Michelle, and we're going to make something truly special together,"
he told me. You've chained me to a bed. You don't even have the balls to look me in the eyes. How can you even pretend anything about this is authentic? He laughed maliciously.
Was anything you ever did real? It was all an act, Michelle. None of those people understood what you were doing, why you were doing it.
My girls need me. What are you going to do? How are you going to explain that I just abandoned them? I screamed at the top of my lungs.
They are taken care of by your grandparents for the moment. And by the time anyone realizes we left, it won't matter. You belong to me now, Michelle. This isn't going to be an act. I will make it real. So I suggest, if you want things to get better for you, that you cooperate. I will be there in 5 minutes for our first photo session. Remember to smile for the camera, or else.
I tried a few more times to pull the chain from the headboard, but Russ had it on too tight. When he came in, he was looking every bit as smug as I expected. You're a coward. I knew I was right to reject you. Am I, Michelle? Or am I the only one that really sees you for what you are? What is that supposed to mean? You're on camera now, my love, and your subscribers only care about one thing. To them, you are just an item, a toy. You've forgotten what it is like to think for yourself. They don't care about you. I was the only one who ever did. He started the camera. Just remember to behave, or something bad will happen to all that you care about. I started to cry and looked into the lens. I could see my reflection, and I was sure that Russell was hoping I was disgusted with myself. But I wasn't about to give him that pleasure. I motioned with my hands as I started to pose for the camera, making Russ smile. But he didn't know I had a different motive. As the camera focused in on me, slowly, I moved my hands in a certain pattern, just noticeable enough that someone out there might get my message. You're getting me so hot and bothered, Michelle. You really are something, Russ said. I smiled for him, continuously motioning the camera a set of signs. If I was really lucky, Russell was wrong about my subscribers. You know, I still want that truly private session. Just you and me and the camera. That way, it lasts forever, he said. I clenched my fists, trying not to sound terrified by his perverse mind. Then why don't you come here and we can film it together? I said in the most seductive voice I could muster. It was bait that he couldn't resist. I knew you would see things my way, babe, he said as he got closer. I smiled and let him close in for a kiss. I had to keep this act going until I knew that he trusted me. I'll show you how I really feel about you, Russell, I said as he started to put his hands on me. I wasn't about to let this go any further. With every bit of force I had in my body, I wrapped my arm around his neck and pulled him next to the headboard. Thanks to the way he had chained me down, the metal acted as a noose, forcing him to remain motionless as I pinned him down.
You little bitch!
He screamed.
Give me the key!
I shouted, but he responded by kicking me in the chest. His pure, brutal strength made the chain snap as he ripped through the headboard and tried to grab at my neck. I had only a second to respond, so I reached the pillow and smothered him, forcing him to be unable to breathe.
Michelle, no.
This isn't how it's supposed to be, he said as he coughed up a little blood. I saw a hammer nearby and strained the chains to reach for it. I'm tired of hearing your voice, I said, pulling the hammer and slamming it again and again at his head. He tried to lunge for me again, and in an act of self-defense, I hammered into his face. He screamed and fell to the mattress, grabbing at my arms. I knew if I didn't kill him, he was going to kill me. I kept clobbering his skull over and over, blood splattering over his body as I finally realized he was dead. Russ was gone, but I was still trapped. I checked the loft doors only to confirm I was locked in. Then I saw on the mattress in the blood and looked at the camera. Someone out there has to help me. Please, I'll do anything.
I choked up those words, feeling guilty for what I had been forced to do. No, this is what Russell had forced me to do.
I can help, a viewer replied. It was Jerry, the deaf man that I had signed to, that ultimately was able to figure out where Russ had kept me. When the police came and I was freed, he told me that he was sorry for being a part of the gory show I had been a victim to. I didn't realize any of it was real until you started to hurt yourself, he told me. Just like the others, they thought everything I did was an act. I will hopefully get the chance to thank you someday. You saved my life, I told him. But honestly, after my ordeal, I don't know if I can ever perform as a creator on OnlyFans again.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoy these stories, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and check out some more of my episodes here.